All right, Pranav, welcome.
Hello. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for doing this. I just wanted to basically ask you a couple questions about your experience working together with me, and just so you can share what your journey was like throughout our work together. How about you start by just sharing a little bit what you're comfortable with, where you feel like you were before we started working together, and what maybe sparked you to reach out and to connect with me.
Well, in the beginning, I was somebody who was severely addicted to sugar to feel good. So I was constantly struggling and looking for a hit to feel good, and I found sugar to be kind of that solution. But as I went through hypnosis, I guess figured out more natural ways and ways that actually made me happy to attain that same level of satisfaction and contentment.
So
So
so there was like some sort of connection between or association between a sense of getting satisfaction around eating sugar that you were experiencing before.
exactly. I was feeling happiness, contentment through sugar. And now, after being through hypnosis, I have developed and come up with new ways, such as working out and just enjoying healthy foods to attain that same level of satisfaction and pleasure that I was getting prior to that.
So I'm just curious, before we work together, so you mentioned there was this association of like satisfaction, pleasure with sugar. So um, what did you try previously to stop eating sugar? What was it like when you tried to stop eating sugar, even though that association was there? What was your general experience?
I guess I was never really happy. I was never really content because sugar was a main part that
Yeah.
contributed to my happiness. So I would stop for periods of maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or you'd go on a healthy regime for a month, a week, but it would never last. I would always, when my willpower was very low, I would always cave in and I would always go and drink, Coke, or I'll have cookies from Tim Hortons, or I'll eat even food that was non-sugar related to get that same feeling.
And I imagine in the moment when you were doing that, maybe there was like, I don't know if you used the word hit, or there was
Yeah.
pleasure associated with that while you were doing that.
Yeah. So when I would just binge on it and I would just consume, like, let's say a large Coke,
Yeah.
I would get that feeling. And then following that was, oh my God, I shouldn't have done that.
I like that. That
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people would relate to that.
Yeah, for sure.
Sort of just like an right? Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I guess there was a point where you realized, this is not working, or I want to seek something else. What made you decide to pursue this way of working?
Well, I've always tried to help myself. I've adopted, lifestyles of fasting. I've spoken to personal trainers. I've spoken to a nutritionist. I've done my research on YouTube. I've watched prominent people speak on the topic, but nothing really helped me. And I was exposed to hypnosis, the idea of it, and then I did some research, and I got referred to yourself. I read your website and saw the happy clients with success, and knew this is another path that I want to try.
So it's not like you weren't a person who was taking action, right? You mentioned you were already intermittent fasting. Um, you mentioned a personal trainer. So you're the type of person that already sounds like works on themselves, and that's what it sounded like when we first started to work together. But it's like maybe there was a disconnect in terms of what you wanted to do and how you ended up acting or behaving, or maybe what it was that you were actually feeling. Does that resonate with you, or would you put it a different way?
So you're absolutely right about me wanting to always help myself, and I've
Mm.
always consistently done that. But I felt, well, hypnosis was proof of it, that I had unresolved issues that were causing me to consume that sugar and consume that food and pursue that satisfaction. So going through hypnosis and really realizing the truth took away all of those cravings. Like, I haven't had sugar since our second session, which
That's
is now
amazing. Yeah, yeah.
which is now like 3 weeks.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I think I remember talking on the phone where we were talking about that, where it's like, it's almost like sometimes it feels like there's one part of you that, hey, this is what I want. But then there's the other part of you that it's like, well, no, wait, I want this at the same time. And you get this inner conflict where, you know, again, you find yourself in a situation where maybe you've had a bunch of cookies or something and you look back and you're like, I've done that again, right?
That was always the feeling.
It was always the feeling, right? So it's
Prior
like,
to eating, it was like
satisfaction and then kind of like,
shouldn't have.
not again type thing. Cool. So just in terms of, without going into like too much detail, what was the process like in terms of, so we worked together for several sessions, but what do you feel like the process was like in terms of how you were maybe as we were working together, or even just like after the sessions, noticing the changes? What was, maybe describe that a little bit. What was the process like for you?
I guess, I mean, I saw a difference immediately after our first session. It was, and that's when I guess our focus was my habits of eating fried chicken, which is something that I've consumed since I can even remember. But what I did notice was the desire to get that hit or that pleasure or that instant feeling of food that went away. Rather,
After
the
the
feeling that,
first session?
yeah, for
Yeah.
the food.
Yeah.
And rather the feeling that I would get of contentment after eating so much and after consuming all that sugar was there before. I guess I wasn't being driven as much by my feelings and my thoughts towards food, but rather, okay, am I hungry? And how's that going to really make me feel? Is it going to make me feel better than I'm already feeling? And when I put that in a perspective, I just started making naturally like decisions that were, more like alive food, like plants, salads, and I was eating a lot of clean sashimi, really high quality fish, and those were the things that started giving me the pleasures then.
Interesting. Yeah. One thing I notice working with clients is when you have the insights or the realization that comes from the process, and now you have that awareness when you find yourself in a similar situation where in the past you may have acted a different way, it's almost like you can't really go back, right? It's just
Yeah.
like you've got this new, so we talked about those two parts before, but now it's almost like there's this new alignment and it's like, well, wait, no, like that doesn't actually bring me what I thought it was, right?
Yeah.
There's sort of like a disconnect.
And another thing that I found out that was amazing was, it's not like I stopped eating chicken forever.
Yeah.
I did try it after like 2 weeks, and it was like, oh wow, I'm not getting the same pleasure or satisfaction from it. And it was kind of a relief to know that, hey, if I ever wanted to eat fried chicken again,
Yep.
it's like I can do it. It's not like I have to do it all the time, and this isn't my savior anymore. So
Yes.
yeah.
I love that. Yeah. So one way of thinking about that is it's like you've gotten choice back, right?
Yes.
Whereas before, sometimes it feels like you just have to keep defaulting to the same thing. And that really comes down to when we think we're getting a certain feeling or something from doing something like eating fried chicken in this case, we're going to keep going after it. But because we don't actually get that from doing that, the mind keeps, it's kind of like, think about like a video game character just like walking into the wall like over and over,
Yeah, again and again.
right? It's like you're not going to go through the wall, right? So
For sure.
yeah, there again, that goes back to that disconnect. But once you get that realization, then it's like, yeah, for sure, definitely have fried chicken, eat what you want when you want, but there's more balance, there's more choice, and that ultimately gives you back your power, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you basically already shared something in this regard, but I'll ask you anyways. Like, what feels different about your life now, or where you are, at least in this moment, in terms of?
I feel a lot more confident. I mean, I've gotten very fit over the past 30 something days, because of my diet, because of my workout, because of my mood. I feel overall that this is gonna be something that I'm gonna be able to, live this way for the rest of my life, because it really aligns with who I am, and it's shown me the true happiness that I always seek.
Yeah.
And turns out that happiness is coming from how healthy my body is becoming and the great food that I'm eating to supplement this body. So I just feel overall very confident, and I feel that, you know, I'm no longer like a slave to my emotions and my cravings, but rather I'm the person who's driving myself forward.
And would you say, like, this is an experience for me personally, and let me know if this connects with you or not, is that when your happiness is connected sometimes to like more long-term goals versus just an immediate satisfaction or whatever it might be, you actually realize it's so much more satisfying, right? Because it's just like, this is something you can always work towards. It's like, it's something that you can do for the rest of your life. And it's not just about what you're getting now. It's about what you're getting now to some degree, but it's also about, you know, who am I becoming? Who am I striving to be? And
I totally agree.
And it's like, there's nothing more satisfying than that. Maybe I'm biased, but I'm like,
No,
it's like,
you're totally
once you get
right.
that connection, it's just like, oh man, it's like, you know, if you can always work towards something, always gives you something to do and to look forward to.
Totally.
So the last thing I'll ask you is, I guess maybe what would you say to anybody who's on the fence about considering this way of working on yourself for an issue they may have? If there's anything you might want to say there.
Yeah, I think it's something that hypnosis is something that you definitely want to give a shot, because I would say it's very, 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 very effective. And I guess the beauty of this whole process was, personally, I was suffering because of issues that I wasn't even aware of. So if there's a tool such as hypnosis out there that can, you know, bring your mind to peace so you don't have to calm it down all the time, then this is going to have an effect in every area of your life. Like the way that I'm eating, the way that I'm working out, the way that I'm living is now producing different level of thoughts in my mind as well, not just towards food, but towards people, towards myself, towards my future, towards where I go and who I socialize with and what my plans are. So I would say this is, you definitely want to try it. and
I love
the
that.
results
Yeah.
speak for itself.
I think you pointed out something very, very important, which is like, even though we were working on this issue, when you find out what it's related to, it starts to make changes in other areas of your life, and that will just continue to happen. It can't not, right? When you make a significant change in one area of your life and you realize what was underlying that, then it can't not impact the rest of your life in a positive way. So I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me around this, and I hope this will help others to see what's possible in their lives as well. And
Thanks a lot, Paul.
much
I really
love.
appreciate
Thank
all
you.
your help.
Awesome.